Hey everybody, Pam McCoy here with the Abundant Home series. Welcome to the Abundant Home. If this is your first time, I'm glad you're here. And if it's your first time, let me tell you that I started these hangouts as a weekly thing. Okay. There we go. To talk about whatever, to talk about, improving your life, improving your business, improving your relationships, making for a happier, healthier, more joyful you. Let me turn this off. I thought I did. As my daddy would say, that's what you get for thinking. Okay. So that's the point of the Abundant Home series, is to help lead you and guide you and give you information and ideas on how to live a life more abundant. Now, I happen to have a home business, and so a lot of what I talk about is directed towards that home business, on helping other people who want to establish a successful business for themselves. However, there's times I will talk about relationships or personal development, and all of these things blend together. They all go together to make for a happier, healthier you, which makes for a happier, healthier family and those people that are around you. Let me look at my camera for just a second. It looks a little bit fuzzy to me. Uh-oh, where did I go? I lost me. There I am. Can't tell if that's any better or not. That looks a little bit sharper. No. Yes. Yes. No. There. That's about as good as it's going to get, I think. And now, as usual, I'm going to go over to the YouTube page so that I can make sure that this is actually broadcasting. So be patient with me for just a second, and I want to let you know that if at any time you have questions, comments, or you have suggestions as to what it is that perhaps okay, yes, it's live. If there are certain areas of your life that that you would like some information in, you're looking to improve, then I'm absolutely open to suggestions and to talk about things that are interesting or useful to other people. I mean, that's the purpose of being here, is to help others to live that more abundant life. So several weeks ago, probably about a month ago now, I started a series, just a small series on setting up for a successful business, setting up your business to be successful. And so the last few weeks we've gone through those steps. And step 2 was personal development, which is what we talked about last week. And this week, what we're going to talk about is identifying your audience and / your target market. And I'll be honest with you, when I got started and people talked about your target market and identifying your audience, it made absolutely no sense to me. Even when people explained it, it still made about this much sense to me, because I didn't understand how important it is to identify who it is that you're talking to. I didn't understand the importance of going through a process of identifying the specific people that I wanted to speak to. And that's the purpose of me going through this, is to help others to learn how to do that, to know why it's important. First off, what does it mean? Why is it important? And how can you do that? How can you go through that process of identifying your target market? So the purpose of it is, and the problem that most marketers encounter in the beginning is, and I was certainly guilty of it, you see an opportunity and you're excited about it and you want to share it with everybody. And that's fine. Sharing it with everybody is fine. However, not everybody wants it. Not everybody identifies with you. Not everybody understands you, your sense of humor, your lifestyle. They don't, if they're someone without children, they don't understand what it's like to live with kids. Or if you're in a place where you have college kids and maybe some grandkids that don't live with you, then you probably don't understand what it's like for the single mom with a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. So figuring out who it is that you're talking to gives you a better chance at being successful, having better communication with the people that you're reaching out to. They understand you, you understand them, they get where you're coming from, they get it when you talk to them, they are interested in what you have to say, because not everybody's interested in what you have to say. Not everybody wants to go into business for themselves. Not everybody wants to be into personal development. Not everybody wants to improve where they are, or to make any changes. That's not the people that you want to talk to. So that's why identifying your market is so important, is because that problem, that issue that we often have as marketers is that we want to talk to everybody. We think everybody is our audience, and everybody is not my audience. Everybody is not your audience. So let's drill that down a little bit further, so maybe it'll make a little more sense to you. Let's look at some big company examples. And that may help you to understand this concept and to begin to break it down into identifying your own target market for whatever business it is that you have. And this is for an offline business just as much as it is for an online business. Business is business. It doesn't matter what kind of business it is. You want to know who it is that you're talking to. So in other words, I'm not going to Lowe's if I have no inkling of doing any kind of home improvement at all for myself. If I want to hire all that out, I don't need to step into Lowe's. If I want to hire somebody to change my light bulb, I don't need to step into Lowe's. So Lowe's isn't talking to me. Watch commercials on TV. First off, pay attention to how the big companies do this. For example, Jeep, when they make their commercials, it's about being rugged, outdoors. We can drive up the mountains. We've got 4-wheel drive. We can drive on the sand. We're living that sporty life. We're a younger generation, and we like to live our lives outdoors. That's who they're targeting. The 20, 30 somethings, maybe a few 40 somethings who like the outdoor life. They like to live outside. They like to go mountain biking and hiking and exploring, and they like to do that with the wind blowing through their hair. They want that outdoor experience. That is who Jeep is targeting. Another example would be for, it may not be the prettiest example, but for personal hygiene materials for women's personal hygiene stuff. They're not targeting that to men. If you take a company that's ooh, Lord, I don't want to have to say it, for one of those female personal hygiene products. They're targeting younger women and saying, hey, you can be outdoors, you can be active, you can play tennis, you can go swimming, you can do yoga and do all of these things and not have to worry. That's who they're targeting. They're not targeting men. There's no need to target men for that product. And by the same token, if you look at Gillette or Barbasol shaving cream, they're targeting men. They're targeting, oh, we're going to get you the smoothest shave so that when your woman comes by and rubs her hand on your cheek and your chin, she's just going to be entranced. Is that a word? I think that's a word. Entranced with how clean shaven and what baby silky smooth skin that you have. That's who they're targeting. If you look at luxury car models, Cadillacs or like a Buick, like luxury cars, then they're targeting an older audience. Lexus, for the most part, they're targeting an older audience, somebody who's if you watch those commercials, they're calm, they're quiet, they're smooth, they're relaxed. Quite the opposite of what that Jeep commercial is. We're outside, we're loud, we're rough, we're tough. Where these luxury models are, we live an even-keeled life. We like the quiet life. We want things to be smooth. So that's who they're targeting, is that older market who is in a place in life where they just want things to run smoothly. So begin to pay attention to the commercials that you see or even that you hear on radio. Not only do you want to pay attention to the commercials, but pay attention to what commercials come on for what TV program. If you're watching a game show, the commercials are going to be slightly different than they are when you're watching the news. Think about it. What do you see when you watch the news all the time? You see advertisements for cars. You see advertisements for furniture sales, that sort of thing. Those are two big ones that you see when you're watching the news all the time. If you're watching a cooking channel, then you're going to see more commercials targeted at kitchen gadgets, houseware, home improvement, cooking magazines, that sort of thing. So pay attention to, now some of them are much more generic, but if you look at the commercials that come on during Modern Family, for example, versus a commercial that comes on when you watch oh gosh, I don't watch TV anymore, Law and Order. Those are going to be targeted at two different markets, because those are two different groups that are watching. Of course, there's going to be some overlap, but there are two different groups that are watching those shows. If you're watching a sitcom versus you're watching a reality program or a game show or the news, pay attention to who they're targeting based on that particular show or that movie. So that's some things that may help you get rolling when you're thinking about, okay, now I better understand how the target market thing works. I understand the purpose of it. And now what you need to do, once you figure that out, once you have a general understanding of that, and know that you're going to have more success if you know who it is that you're talking to, and you design your information towards that person or that group of people. For example, there's someone that I was in another business with who's a single mom. Well, she identifies with single moms. That's who she targets, is single moms saying, hey, you know what? I lived the struggle. I had to buy at the consignment stores, and even then it was very limited what I could buy. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have to feed your kids on a shoestring budget and to be able to clothe them and house them. I know what that's like. I've been there. on you. But here's what you can do about it. Here's a way out. That's her laser-focused target market, single moms. Now, is that all that she recruits? No, because other people are going to identify with it too. I identified with it. I wasn't a single mom at the time. Had I been? Yeah, but I wasn't at the time when I signed up with her. But that's who she finds as her primary target, are single moms. If you are an executive, more of an executive, master's degree, PhD, then you're going to target somebody a little bit differently. And certainly if your business is more along those lines, more, about being a CPA or helping others to design their business, and you can do that because you have all the credentials to do that. Or you want to be a financial advisor, and you've got the education in it, you've got all the letters and the degrees behind your name, and you've done it yourself, and you can show that. That's going to be a different target market than another person. You're not going to be speaking to the same person that single mom is speaking to necessarily. So that's why it's so important, is because the more laser focused that you are in who it is that you're talking to, then the better chance you're going to have, the better outcome you're going to have when it comes to making more money, building a better and bigger business. I listen to Jeffrey Combs a lot, as I've mentioned on here several times. And as I listen to him, I hear him talking a lot to people who are struggling with personal issues, with perhaps addictions, alcoholism, anger issues, procrastination issues, which all of those can kind of come from the same area. There was some things that went on early in life that made you more prone to procrastinating, to being overwhelmed, living that overwhelmed state, to not being organized. That's who he's targeting, are those people. And he'll say it, as he's saying, you're doing this and this and this and this. These are the things that you're trying to get away from. And you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, he's talking to me. Yes, I'm talking to you. So being laser focused with who it is that you are talking to. I like a little fuzzy. Oh, shoot. Is going to help you build a bigger and better and more successful business. And that's what it's all about. I mean, you're not getting into business just for, kicks and grins. You're getting in because you want it to be a successful venture. You want to be profitable at it. I'm assuming you want to be profitable at a business. So those are some big company examples, some things that you can ask yourself. Who would buy from me? What do I have that people want? What are their struggles? What are their issues? What are the problems that they have that I can solve? Again, as an example, my friend who's a single mom, that's exactly what she says. I know where you've been. I've been at that thrift store telling my daughter, what this heartbreaking story that she has about telling her daughter, there was only one, her daughter needed a pair of tennis shoes, and there was only one pair of shoes in that thrift store that were her size, and they were boys' shoes. And saying, I'm sorry, honey, that's all I can afford right now is for you to buy these used boy shoes. And to know that she's been there, then she can speak to those people. If you've been homeless, then you can speak to those that are homeless or that have been homeless. Well, she speaks to those moms who are struggling financially, who want more for their children, who want more for their lives. but they're doing the best that they can right now. And to tell that story and then say, this is what I found, and this is how it's different for us now. I remember a few years ago, or a year ago or so, her posting a picture of these just elaborate shoes that she had bought for her daughter. And it was these like sparkly tennis shoes, high top, pink, sparkly, jeweled tennis shoes. And it was what her daughter picked out when they went to buy her a pair of shoes. That's what she picked out. And she was like, honey, you want them, you get them. Because I remember a time when I couldn't say that. Well, that's exactly who she's talking to, are those people who are going through those struggles and they want more for themselves and they want more for their families. That's who she's talking to. So that's what figuring out your target market is. That's part of that problem. Figure out what their problems are and how you can go about solving that problem. What does your product or service, what problem does that solve? Does it solve the problem of finances, of looks? You know, if you have a hairstyling business, does it help people with organization? If you have a business where you're going in and you organize closets or you organize homes, there are people that get paid to do that, to come into a stranger's home, strip everything out of their closet, organize it, stack it, whatever, and put it back in a better fashion so that homeowner, that person, feels a sense of calm and relief when they look in that closet versus before when they felt chaos and overwhelm every time they open the closet. So figuring out what their problems are and what is it that you have that's going to solve that issue. Generally, you're going to be speaking to those that have a similar background as you, that have a similar amount of education, that have done similar things in life, or that desire similar things in life. Perhaps you're speaking to somebody that loves scuba diving, or that just loves travel in general, somebody that doesn't want to have a house. They just want to travel from place to place and live, you know, from here to there for 3, 4, 5, 6 months at a time, a year at a time, and then pick up and go somewhere else. That's who you're going to talk to. But then breaking it down even further into a primary sex, like if you're speaking to females or males, or it may be a couple. Perhaps you're a couple and you want to speak to other couples. Or if you want to speak to 20-somethings without children, or you want to speak to 40-somethings who are on the latter stages of child rearing. Do you want to speak to perhaps those that are in their 40s and 50s who never had any children? Identify their sex, their age, know things about them. And you can look at generally your circle of influence, people that you hang out with. If those are people that you would want to target in some similarities in their age and that sort of thing, what do they do for fun? What movies do they watch? Do they watch movies? Do they watch TV at all? Do they live outside at all? Do they like to hunt? Do they like to fish? My husband loves to hunt. That's who his target market would be if he had a hunting business. If he wanted to teach others and show others how to get the most out of their hunting experience. And he loves to do that. He just doesn't do it for financial gain. He just does it because that's what he loves to do. He could turn that into a business and speak directly to the younger hunter who doesn't know anything about cover scent, about blinds, about food plots, about scopes, about which gun to use for how much distance you're going to be shooting from. He can. That's a laser focused target right there, a younger hunter who wants and needs the education and the information to make them a better hunter. So that's what is going to help you in your business, is figuring out, okay, who am I talking to? What do they like to do? Do they, okay, if they like to watch TV, what shows are they watching? Are they only watching news channels? I mean, you have those people who all they watch is CNN, or the Weather Channel or the news. I mean, that's what they're watching all the time. You have those, such as myself, who, if I'm going to watch TV, that is so not what I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch HGTV, or I'm going to watch Law and Order. So what are the people that you're targeting? What are they watching? Where are places they like to hang out? Who do they like to buy from? Are they into clothes? Are they into fashion? Or are they more sweats and tennis shoes kind of people? The more that you know about them, the better that you can speak to them, and the better that you're going to be able to connect with them. They're going to be able to connect with you, to know you, to like you, to trust you, building those factors that we always talk about when it comes to building a business. People want to do business with people, not a business. They want to know who it is that they're doing business with. I for instance, when I got a haircut earlier. Okay, when I started, it was, okay, I need a place to go. But now it's the person. I like the particular hairstylist that I go to. I don't go to that shop just to go to anybody. I go to her. If she were to move, I'd go to her. I would stick with her, no matter where she is in business. So that's some of the things, some of the questions that you can ask yourself. You know, what do they like to do? How old are they? Are they males, females, couples, singles, with children, without children? Are they in school, out of school? Perhaps they're college graduates who are looking for a way to pay off their loans. Whatever it is, people that you can speak to, and generally your life experience is going to help you to figure out who it is that your target market is. Knowing what their problems are, knowing what their struggles are. Then one of the last things that you can ask yourself and identify is, what makes you unique? So in what makes you, or your business, not you necessarily, but what you have to offer, what makes it unique? And I'm hurting my foot. Okay, sorry. My foot was hurting. So in the case of my friend who is a single mom, what makes her unique is that she's done it. She's been there, she's done it, and she has found a way to build a successful business and live a prosperous life. That's what makes her unique. I totally lost my train of thought. What more examples? What makes the Jeep for and targeted for people who like to live the outdoor life? If you like to live an outdoor life, you're probably not going to go buy a tiny sports car for your primary mode of transportation, because you can't fit the bike in it, you can't fit all your ski gear in it. So that's what I'm talking about. That's why the Jeep is unique to those people. And I'm just speaking Jeep. I mean, it could be, you know, an SUV of some sort, like the old Broncos. Do they still make Broncos? I don't know. But a vehicle like that, or a Suburban for a large family, or the minivan for the soccer mom. I mean, you know these things because you've seen them on TV, you've heard them being advertised. You just have never necessarily put those two things together. What do you think when you think of a soccer mom? I think of a minivan. And a mom driving to and from and whipping up food in the kitchen and at the grocery store. That's what I think. Minivan. And I've been a soccer mom, and that's not necessarily the truth, but that's what you think. What do you think when you think of somebody who likes to surf? You think a more relaxed lifestyle, living on or near the beach. They just want to do things that are relaxed and laid back. You know, we have these images in our minds. Well, those images come from these businesses marketing, laser targeting their market, who it is that they're speaking to. If you think about, what was the example I just had in my head? Take Apple, for example. Then they're targeting the more, the younger, hipper crowd who always wants to be on the cutting edge of technology, who always wants to have the coolest, latest gadgets. That's who they're targeting. So begin to think about that and how you can identify your market. If you would like some more information, I can give you a list of specific items that you can look at when you're designing or figuring out your target market, to help seal this process in your mind, so that then you know how to go out and better market. You know who to talk to. You're not just going to put your ads everywhere, because everywhere isn't necessarily where the people that you want to come to your business are. So that's the importance of finding your target market, is knowing who they are, so you know where they are, so you know how to talk to them, where they are, where to talk to them, so that they can find you and that you make sense to them and they want to do business with you. So that's what I have for you today, is identifying your audience, your target market. If you have questions about that, please let me know. If you want a list of questions that you can ask yourself to help narrow that focus down a little bit, let me know. I do have that available. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do have this hangout once a week on the Abundant Home. And next week will be the next step in setting up your business for success. And that will be, hold on a second, I'm lost in the sea of paper. Perhaps that's it. That's it. So next week we'll be talking about marketing. And now that we know who we're talking to, how are we going to talk to them? Where are we going to go? How much money are we going to spend? Are we going to spend any money? Where are we going to be? And that you're going to know, you're going to have a better idea, because you're going to know who it is exactly that you're talking to. You know where they are. Now let's go talk to them. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. If you have any questions, suggestions, comments, please leave them below, or I will leave a link to my Facebook page. You can connect with me there. Send me a friend request or send me a comment and or question, and I will be checking my messages. I hope that's been helpful to you. And like I said, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share this with others if it's helped you. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye now.